Hi crafty friends! In this tutorial I'm showing you how to make a Raggedy Ann inspired journal topper using red, white, and blue charm, antique textures, and lots of crafty fun. This topper is part of my vintage 1920s Raggedy Ann and Andy journal series. Perfect whether you're following along or just want a nostalgic accent piece. Featuring a vintage bingo card base, gingham bow and button embellishment, doily, star, lace, sweet little Raggedy Ann, and a So Sweet label to finish it off. Don't forget, I'm offering a free printable on my Ko-Fi account, and you can find that link in my YouTube profile. Let's keep it cute, let's keep it crafty, and make something out of nothing. All right. So this is what I came up with for the cover of our journal series on the monthlies. I really like how it turned out. So that's what we're going to create today. I'm going to set that over to the side. Set this one over. All right, so the first thing we're going to need is our bingo card. And I want to start by rounding the corners on that. And inking it. I'm not one that does a ton of inking, but I do think it helps, especially if you're making a vintage journal, to ink a little bit around the edges, just to not make it like where you don't see the white edge so much. It looks older and antiqued. All right. The next thing is cutting out a background piece of red construction paper, scrapbook paper. You could use a file folder. They come in different colors. And we're going to glue that down. And because of the paper that I'm using is a faux leather texture, I am going to use my Fabrifix to glue it down. Alright. Make sure I've got that centered on there and press it down. The next thing we need is a paper doily. Make sure I only got one of these. Feels like there might be more than one here. Yep, there's definitely more than one. There we go. Set that off to the side. And we will cut that in half. And I'm going to use my Yoo-Hoo glue stick to glue this down. I decided to stagger it to give it a little bit more interest. All right. And this dries clear, so right now it looks like I've added way too much glue, but that'll dry clear and you'll never even know there was any glue there. The next step that we need to do is add our ribbon. This is a piece of vintage gingham ribbon. I'll also be making my bow out of this, so I'm just going to cut enough to go around and to glue it. And the rest of that I can use to make my bow. Everybody got big 4th of July plans? I think we're just going to have a cookout with family and enjoy the beautiful weekend. I don't know where I live at. I can step outside my door and see fireworks going off at our we have a small airport nearby, and they set off the fireworks there, so I can literally sit on my back patio or sit in my front yard with a yard chair and watch fireworks. Okay, now the next step is the bow, and the way I did that was I cut a loop a piece to make a loop, and I wanted to make sure that when I scrunched it up it was about the size I wanted, and then I just glued this together. This is probably the trickiest part of the whole thing. If you bought a bow that was already made, it would make it even easier. And then this is going to be the background piece that I'll later cut. Let me get my string I'm going to use. I'm just using some wax thread to tie my bow. Let's see. I thought I had a button. With it. I think I see it. Maybe not. I may have to add the button after the fact because I'm not seeing my button. There it is. It was hiding from me. All right, I found it. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to use my hands to scrunch that up and turn that around twice and tie it in the back twice. And just like when I tie a signature, I'm tying them pretty tight, and with that wax on there, it grips them really well. And then I will add my button and trim my ribbon tails. Okay, there's that. I'll go ahead and trim my ribbon now. Okay. Now we'll add our button. One thing I like about this wax thread, you can easily feed it through your buttonholes without a needle. And I'll go the opposite direction with this side, which technically I wouldn't have to do that. I could just tie it in the back. Let me see how that would work if I did that. That would hold it and put it where I want it. I think I'm still going to try and run the other one through. I don't know if I'll be able to easily or not, but it would make it definitely go to center much easier. How's everybody liking the series so far? I'm excited that after today, our journals, for the most part, are done except for adding signature pages. And then I can focus on making embellishments, which is one of my favorite parts of a journal, is making the items I stick inside of it. And like I said, I'll do the signatures and sew one of the signatures in, because these are one signature journals, when I get a shipment of items I purchased from Madeline Diet's online sell, because there's several page kits that I purchased that I want to use for pages in these journals. Okay, so by tightening that just automatically centers it in my bow. Turn it around, tie a couple more knots, and then I'm going to put this off to the side, but I will be gluing it on once I get all the other items placed. All right, let's see. The next thing I want to put on is Raggedy Ann. She needs to get trimmed down to fit her frame here. Let's see, I did it about like that, it looks like. So I just get her centered in the frame where I want her, flip it over, and these frames are the Tim Holtz lace frames that he sells. You can get them on Amazon. Just look up Tim Holtz and frames and they come up. There are also some more masculine looking ones if you didn't want to go with the white lace. And now I'm going to add my glue to the back to glue this down. All right, there we go. There's that. And now I'm going to add glue to this and glue it down to the bingo card. Let's see here. I know some of the blue is still showing where I glued it, but it was like that on this one too, and you can't even tell where I glued that. So that will completely dry and you will not see it. All right. And then the next step is to put our little tag on. Just going to ink around the edges. And this is the Raggedy Ann picture, and this tag is from the free digital on my Ko-Fi. My Ko-Fi is listed as Tracie Hinds, aka Nanner BaNanner, or you can go to my YouTube channel under post. I have the link listed there as well. All right, let's put that on there. Glue our little star on. I think it matters which side we glue. And again, I got these stars from purchasing a 4th of July table runner at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just cutting the stars. I'll have so many left over after this project, but I can also use them in other projects. Okay. Let me puff up my bow a little bit. All right, and I'm going to glue that down. I don't glue every part of the bow down because I like that it's free moving. I think it looks a little bit better like that. Let's see. And I'm going to go ahead and glue it down to our journal cover. Just give that bow a little bit more time to dry. Something else you could do if you wanted to add more texture is sew around this outer edge of the bingo card once you glue it to the red backing, and you could also sew around this label, and that would add a lot more texture and dimension to your topper as well. and it would look, I think it would look good. All right, let's get this glued here. You definitely want to make sure you've got glue on the edge, but you don't want it to be so much that it's gonna ooze out. So I would go within 1/8 of an inch of the edge. Put your glue there, because when you push it down, it will move the glue a little bit. And this will definitely secure it onto the journal. It's not going to go anywhere after you use the Fabri-Tac glue on there. All right. And let's see here. I'm going to try and lift this up to get placement. All right, again, the little bit of blue that's there and there will dry clear. You will not even know. This is how they turned out. I hope you like them. This is Nanner BaNanner signing off. Keep it cute, keep it crafty, and keep making something out of nothing. Bye.